Hello friends and my lovely viewers. Welcome back to the channel of Neon Safe. Today we will rank the first 6 sprites of Bloodline. Let's get started.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. I'm tired of shit.
We have 3 sprites that are rare types, while the rest of our sprites are epics. A couple of differences between them is that our epic sprites have a higher cap and higher base stats compared to the rare sprites. And the 6 sprites we will talk about today are acquirable in the sprite conjuring of the summoning circle. So let us begin by discussing the PvP and PvE ranks of our completely free Hyperin sprite. Hyperin sprite skill gives our damage dealing champions a 5% increase in damage dealt if the enemy target has more than 50% constitution left. So he is a damage buffing type of sprite, whose skill is meant to increase the damage our team deals to the enemy. I really love this skill because it focuses on increasing the damage output, and we are always in need of this sort of buff, regardless of which team comp we have. And if we ascend our sprite to 3-star, then this damage buff will increase to 10%. I can imagine him being an A rank in PvP battles. And as for PvE, I personally believe he may actually be an S tier. The skill just works really well in any type of environment, and the percentage is also worth it. I think Bloodline decided to give us a great first experience with the sprites by making our free sprites such a great one. But that doesn't mean the other sprites will be useless. Let us see Kodiark next. This is a 10% strength resistance buff that activates for 6 seconds on the champion whose constitution falls below 30% for the first time. And if we ascend this sprite to 3-star, then the buff's percentage will increase to 15%. This sounds like a useful skill, as strength is such a big threat in Bloodline. But I honestly do not think it is super valuable compared to the previous sprite we discussed. The ally's constitution has to fall really low for this skill to activate. And who knows, it might even be too late, as our champion may be one-shot killed before the skill can take action. So, after some careful consideration, I would have to place him in C rank for PvP battles, and B+ rank in PV. The last rare type of sprite we have is called Alopex. His skill gives all our allies a 50% chance to restore 4% of their max constitution. This effect only takes place when an enemy champion uses an ultimate skill. At 3-star, the restoration will increase from 4% to 6%. So Alopex is a healer type of pet, who wants to keep our allies' constitution up. This sprite seems very useful to be honest, and the skill is very likely to activate in battle. I believe we may have great use of him in PvP battles, while in PvE he may be even better. He is not as great as our Hyperin sprite though, but he is not as bad as the Kodiark sprite either. So, he is kinda in the middle of our rare types of sprites. As for his ranking, I'll say he is more of a B tier in PvP, and an A tier in PV. So let us take a moment to remember this. Amongst our rare types of sprites, Hyperin is the best option, Alopex is the second best, while Kodiark is the least best option. All 3 of these rare sprites have the same amount of constitution, fortitude, strength and block, so on that field they seem pretty equal. But yet their sprite skills are different, which leads to some being better than others. That being said, I think it is time for us to discuss the epic type of sprites. The Awakened Hyperin is the next one in line, and his skill buffs the active skill and ultimate skill's damage by 10%. At 3-star this percentage increases to 13% more damage. I am getting a really great feeling from this sprite. He is kinda similar to our rare type Hyperin, but different, and yet he looks just as promising as the rare Hyperin. I'd say he seems slightly better than the rare Hyperin in PvP, but not enough to make him a whole rank higher. So we may place him as a A+ rank in PvP, and as a S rank in PV. Next up is the Awakened Kodiark. Similar to the rare Kodiark sprite, this sprite's skill also buffs our team's strength resistance. The buff of 10% strength resistance only activates when an ally champion takes ultimate skill damage. The buff lasts for 3 seconds and has a 10-second long cooldown. If we ascend our Awakened Kodiark to 3-star, then the percentage increases to 14%. This sprite does not seem that impressive to be honest. I don't believe we should particularly aim for this one or invest too much resources into him. There are better sprites out there like for instance the Hyperin sprites we have already mentioned. The Awakened Kodiark just has a very long cooldown time, and overall the buff isn't that significant in battle in my opinion. So we may put him in the B rank in both PvP and PvE for the time being. The last one is the Awakened Alopex Sprite. In his Sprite skill, the ally champions in the front row take 10% less damage, while the ally champions in the back row deal 10% more damage. This buff works for the first 15 seconds of the battle, and at 3-star ascension, both of the percentages will increase to 13%. We have a great skill here, not gonna lie, and I personally believe this sprite to be better than the Awakened Kodiark. But unfortunately I cannot say our Awakened Alopex here is superior to the Awakened Hipperin. Alopex is great as his sprite skill increases some of our allies' DPS power and also protects some of them from being harmed. But I cannot say it is incredibly magnificent, so we may place him in the B+ rank for PvP and A rank for PvE. That being said, if we look at the broader picture here, we may actually see a pattern. According to the ranks we have given them, the Hipperin sprite is the very best, Alopex comes in second, and Kodiark is the third. And the awakened types of each rare sprite are slightly better. So the Awakened Hipperin is slightly better than the rare Hipperin, while the Awakened Alopex is slightly better than the rare Alopex. And at last we have the Awakened Kodiark, who is slightly better than the rare Kodiark. Perhaps this is just how Bloodline decided to rank and divide our sprites, cause it looks very planned, not gonna lie. And one thing worth mentioning is that the 3 awakened sprites we just discussed have the exact same amount of constitution, fortitude, strength, and block. So the ranks we placed them into is mainly based on their sprite skill. Now, if we have to choose 3 of these 6 sprites, we may want to consider both the rare and epic Hipperin for the first and second slots. The sprite skills of these 2 are really great after all, and I would personally prioritize the Awakened Hipperin first, since he has a higher cap and stats due to being an epic type. And in the third slot we may want to select the Awakened Alopex sprite. Alopex also buffs the damage of our team, but additionally he gives defense, which is a great plus point to have. Do keep in mind, by the way, this is just my own personal opinion on which sprite I believe to be the best ones for our team. We can choose whichever sprite we'd like. This all being said and done, do let us know in the comments section below if you have any questions, or if you believe any of these sprites should be ranked differently. These were just my own thoughts, based on what I have found out about the sprites so far. Anyways, I think we have covered most of the topic for today. Feel free to subscribe to the channel or leave a like on the video. We highly appreciate your support and contribution. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, stay foxy, adios, bye.